lovey-dovey-do, lovey-dovey corner, it's here for me and for you.
It's the season of love, and what do I love more than anything in the world? That's right, animation, my first and foremost love. After myself, of course. Yes, I love animation, be it the traditional cat and mouse chasing antics or the escapades of a silly inventor and his dog. I love short form films that stir the soul and the ones that are just fun for fright. But I question myself as to just where did this love and fascination for the medium come from, and where did it all begin? So asking these inward questions to myself, I went off on a trip down memory lane on the internet.
Welcome to the Information Highway.
I set off to try and find some old animated shorts that could have been uploaded online, hoping that some vague memory of a childhood classic animation VHS might stir up some old memories and remind myself as to just why I became so interested in animation. So by researching a vague name of one of the first animated shorts that I could recall that I thought was called The Talking Bone, it actually turned out to be called The Amazing Bone, and bingo, I found the first ever piece of animation I could remember watching as a child. Thankfully, the Internet Archive had an uploaded copy saved in all its wonky audio VHS glory, and that set the nostalgia serotonin off. This was definitely the very first animated piece of media that I remember seeing as soon as my cognitive conscience kicked in, and when looking further into this little piece of animation, I found it has quite a surprising lineage that relates to one of the biggest animation franchises out in the current world. Hi, I'm Blue, and welcome to BlueTube. Today I'll be telling you about an animated short film that introduced me to my love of animation. It's called The Amazing Bone. Cue titles.
You're an amazing bone.
The Amazing Bone is an animated adaptation of a beautiful picture book of the same name, believe it or not. Written by author William Steig. Hold on to the author's name as this is something to come back to later. The story was written in 1976 and was illustrated by Farrar, Straus and Giroux. Sorry if I butchered the pronunciation of names there.
It's only your imagination.
The story was faithfully adapted into an animated short film in 1985 by Westernwood Studios Incorporated, or Western Woods if you prefer. This company is still in operation today, and it was gloriously narrated by John Lithgow.
It's a little piece of Lithgow trivia.
Pocket this information for later. Now, my history with the film goes back to being a tot, as we had this taped on TV from years ago, as it was shown and broadcast on terrestrial telly. I remember the wonderful visuals, John Lithgow's marvellous vocal performance as he performed the entire cast of characters that gave every person in the short a distinct voice that made them recognisable from each other.
Where on earth have you been? We were frazzled with worry.
It makes me cry every time I hear it.
The story of The Amazing Bone is wonderful, a short and sweet, well-rounded story. But what is The Amazing Bone all about? The story is set in an anthropomorphic animal world, with the main character being a little girl pig named Pearl, who likes to daydream. One day, on her walk home from school, on a sunny, vibrant spring afternoon, Pearl decides to drink in the season and take a break in the woods.
I love everything. So do I.
Here she encounters a talking bone that can talk in any language.
You talk? In any language. Habla español, razumiesz po polsku, sprechen Sie Deutsch, and I can imitate any sound there is.
The bone and Pearl become fast friends, and the bone elaborates that he used to belong to a witch and fell out of her basket after not wanting to be with her anymore. Pearl and the bone avoid a scuffle in the woods with some ruffians.
Hand over the purse! You can't have my purse.
Fun fact here, I had to have this part of my VHS tape taped over because I was a baby and these guys in these little demon masks scared me a lot. So my parents had to tape some random thing over this exact bit. Moving on from my childhood shame of having to skip over this part, the bone deceives these gun-wielding punks.
You can't have my purse. What's in it? I'm in it.
And the two find the whole experience hilarious.
Did you see them run? Suppose we showed them.
And they continue their jaunt in the woods, laughing along the way. Eventually they come across a wily fox. Because of course foxes in these stories are always hungry and want to eat the main protagonists, don't they? This time though, the fox isn't outsmarted by the bone's cunning, and he takes them both to his shack in the woods as he prepares them for dinner. Now, while as sad and tragic as this moment is, I can't help but find the fox's cooking preparation to make me kind of hungry.
And what's that? Sounds like wood being put into a stove. Vinegar and oil? He's preparing a salad. Oh!
I know, I'm sorry, it's just the way that the bone describes how the fox is preparing the meal just makes me want to join in with the fox with his dinner. I'm sorry if it makes me a bad person. Now, with no way of escaping the fox's clutches, Pearl is about to be cooked for dinner, when suddenly the bone shouts some random words that makes for a fantastic Mr. Fox shrinking sequence.
Alabam, Chinook, Bibobbit, Gibuzzle. Adunis, Ish Gulak, Kibakan Yabab. Scrabbled it.
Hooray, the two are saved, and the bone explains that he must have recounted some magic words that he learnt from the witch.
Well, what made you say those words? I wish I knew. They just came to me. I had to say them. I must have picked them up somehow, hanging around with that witch.
Now that's how you round up a good story, with nice little details like that. Pearl and the bone end up home and have more excellent line delivery from John Lithgow. It stayed in my mind forever. It's reverberated through time in my head.
This bone can talk. A talking bone? Why, Pearl, it's only your imagination.
Pearl explains about her tardiness to her parents, and the bone is welcomed as a member of the family, and it's a happily ever after ending. Now, why do I love this little animation short so much? It was one of the first animated things that I had ever seen. It showed me how illustrations in motion can be used and what can be achieved with it. It taught me just how animation and storytelling go so well together, and spurred me on to look into other animated films and get into Disney, Warner Brothers, and more importantly, Cosgrove Hall. Now, what was very interesting to find out that this story is linked to a very big and popular mainstream animation IP. You see, remember when I told you to make notes about the author of The Amazing Bone, William Steig? Well, drumroll please. William Steig is also the author of Shrek. Yep, that's right, in a weird twist of fate, this animated adaptation has some small history to be shared with Shrek.
Somebody wants...
And by even weirder coincidence, John Lithgow, who delivered such a grand performance that has resonated through my subconscious throughout the ages, would go on to voice the villain Lord Farquaad for Shrek 1 so many years later. That's crazy! I never would have put these two films together like that. And while you can't watch this film on YouTube, you can still find it on the Internet Archive, though the audio has become a bit warped due to aging, and it sounds like a cursed VHS taped media. But honestly, I think this warped audio degradation adds to the effect of the film, and in a way has pixelized the media to be exactly how I remember it sounding on VHS when I saw it for the first time over 30 years ago. Oh great, now I feel old. I still love this animation. It's what started my fascination with the animated medium so very long ago, and taught me what storytelling through moving images can do, and for that I will never stop loving this short. I'm Blue, and if you don't know what to do, then like and subscribe to my channel for new videos. Catch you next time.